Chuck Eats is a 10-day culinary celebration for all my foodies out there, where restaurants will offer prefix menus or special fixed-priced menus throughout the 10 days. And this is a perfect opportunity to really let your taste buds explore what Southwest Louisiana has to offer. I encourage everyone to come out and check it out.
Thanks for joining us on Louisiana's Playground Podcast, your roadmap to all things Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm Brady Reynard.
And I'm Jillian Corder. We're excited to bring you another episode of the podcast where we tell the authentic stories and experiences of Southwest Louisiana. We're going to give you all the tools that you need to build your own personal Southwest Louisiana itinerary.
Yeah, pretty good. Another terrific show for you today. We're up to episode 60. I always love the good round numbers, right? The start.
Big milestone.
Yeah. Episode 60 with Candy Rodriguez here from Visit Lake Charles as she comes on to tell us everything you need to know about Chuck Eats Week 2025.
Oh, it's weird saying 2025. I'm still not used to it.
It
always takes like months to get into
not
it.
to date this podcast too much, but it's already 2025. It's the first day, all right?
Yeah,
so give us a little slack.
Welcome to the new year.
Yeah.
I'm going to need at least a couple more days to get used to it.
Yeah, all right. Well, we got a great show. Dive into what Chuck Eats Restaurant Week is, some pro tips, and a lot in between that. Great conversation. But before we get to that, let's feature one of those restaurants, one of those 40-plus restaurants that'll be with us that week. It's time for On the Eats.
This week, we head over to Buffi's Peauxboys in downtown Lake Charles. Cute little spot. They've been in business over a decade, not necessarily in this location. They've been elsewhere in town. But I really think that their downtown Lake Charles spot is the place to be.
Yeah, they've really kind of made a home, if you will, there. And I think has kind of elevated themselves because of it, right? You're kind of,
Sure.
It's a little bit more cozy. I think people love the coziness atmosphere of it. It's a brick building on the corner of a street, so it feels very downtowny. I have no other way to say that, right? Like,
well,
it's classic looking.
Yeah, it is. It's got the classic look, the big, huge windows looking out into downtown Lake Charles. And it's a perfect little spot if you're going around downtown for one of our many different, like street festivals, like events downtown. Plus, it's within like yards of my office downtown. So
very convenient for you.
Super convenient for me.
All right, I just want to say facade. It has a brick facade.
You just like that word.
Facade.
It's a fancy word.
Well, on the menu are things like their Peauxboys, which they have that little EAUX spelling to everything they do there, like potatoes and Peauxboys and all that. They've got homemade Peauxboys, potatoes. They do plate lunches. It kind of rotates. They've got soups and salads, and then their homemade dessert. They've got a cheesecake that's there very often that is exquisite.
They got a banana pudding.
It's all so good. So kind of a nice eclectic mix of a lot of Southern staples and Cajun Louisiana staples as well. And despite the name Peauxboys in their names, which they do very well, funny enough, this trip we didn't get the Peauxboys to kind of showcase how much they can really do.
Yes, but I will say this. So basically anything you can get in po' boy form there, you can also get on a baked potato.
And I think they do it as a wrap as well.
Oh, I think so. But I'm not one of those low carb people you see. I'm like, where are the carbs? Give me those. So I get the grilled chicken potato, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a gigantic baked potato, opened up, covered in grilled chicken, and a lot of chicken too. Like a lot of
Probably
chicken.
a full chicken breast.
Like 1.5. Like it is a lot. It's a lot. So it's cut up. Covered in the grilled chicken, then it's smothered with cheese. They have a bacon ranch spread. It's like a buttery kind of a ranch flavored with some like bacon. It's so good. And a homemade honey mustard on top. And that's the thing that when I first saw it, I went, I don't know if I'm going to like this. Like I don't know, mustard on a baked potato sounds
together. Weird.
It melts so beautifully together. And the homemade ranch, the spread is amazing, right? It's unique. It's kind of got that sour cream-esque quality to it, or butter when you're putting it on top of your baked potato. But the homemade honey mustard is what's so unique to me. It's that perfect tangy, sweet, topper. This is real comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
This is the meal, when you're not feeling well or you're under the weather or it's like dreary outside or whatever. And you're like, I need comfort food, something that's going to make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. This is the thing I want.
A big ASS baked potato.
A big old baked potato. That's what I want. And the way they cook it, it's to die for. And I order this so often. Number one, I walk in and they're like, hey, Jillian, because they know who I am and they know what I'm going to order. And they
were actually said that they haven't seen you recently because you had kind of went on a bit of a diet to kind of avoid big potatoes.
I was trying to be good. And, big potatoes covered in cheese are not really me being on my best behavior. But I told them, forget that. For the sake of the podcast, I need this potato. And it's just so good.
Do it for the pod.
I did it for the podcast.
Meanwhile, I also got a homey meal for me. It's something. It shows the difference of opinions in food here. They had their plate lunches, and it was a tough choice today. They often have multiple choices sometimes: gumbo, red beans, or it was smothered chicken. So I went with the smothered chicken, like a good Louisiana boy,
a good Cajun boy you are.
That's right. And honestly, like the plate came out and I just looked at it and I said, my God, like it just reminded me of mom and my home. Mm-hmm. And it's just looking at it.
It's loaded down.
Right.
Too.
And it's stuff that I grew up on. And so it just evokes that strong feeling. Great dark meat chicken. I think it was a leg and a thigh that was sitting there for me. So delicious. Cooked down in its own gravy. And there is some tanginess there, which I found out they do a bit of a mustard marinade. Oh. They have a couple of different things on it, but one of which is a mustard marinade. So it's a bit of a tanginess to the.
If there's mustard within like a 2-mile radius of Brady's plate, he knows it. He can tell. And today that you took one bite and you're like, I taste mustard. There's something in here.
It's the worst superpower you can have.
It's a really strange superpower. And then actually, funny enough, as we were leaving, we caught up with the chef outside and she told us how she makes it. So she gave us all the secrets.
Yeah. So very, very cool. Anyway, so it is cooked down. It's great flavor to it. And there's nothing better than seeing it with rice and gravy, that perfect Louisiana dish. If you go to someone's house for dinner in Southwest Louisiana, you're probably going to get rice and gravy, right? It's just a staple. And so, and they do it really well.
If they're living their life right.
That's right.
They're serving rice and gravy.
So thick and, the veggies are chopped up. Everything's cooked down to perfection. It was really, really good. On the side, it comes with green beans. They do a lot of bacon with it, a lot of onions and chop down and smother that down as well to kind of elevate the flavor of the green beans. Very, very good. And then the carrots, I call it yams style, right?
It did have a yam quality
right.
to it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's what do they call it? Candied carrots.
Yes, the brown sugar butter.
Brown sugar butter. Some people use ginger. It'll have some vanilla extract in it. Essentially, those couple of ingredients.
It's yummy.
And you cook
like
it down.
Dessert.
And I think they did really good with that because they made them soft but not mushy. Carrots can sometimes get mushy.
Yeah.
And these were just soft, but they still had a little bit of a firmness to it. So they were very, very good. But I appreciated that about the meal is that the sides were not just dumped from a can and put some butter on it and put it on the stove and throw it out to you. Mm-hmm. You'll see that in some places, right?
Yeah.
They did a great job not doing that. All of those were a lot of love and passion went into each one to make it something that they would want to eat.
Sure. And while we ate in-house today, right? So we stopped by and we ate there and took in the ambiance and looked out on downtown.
We took in the facade.
I don't think that's how that word is supposed to be used. That said, this is a really great spot if you're needing to like call in for lunch or something like that. Like you're needing to just pick up a quick meal really fast. I tell you, when I say that I'm within walking distance, I really mean it. We share a parking lot with Blaze. And so I call up Buffi's, I order my, regular, and within 10 minutes, it's ready to go. So super convenient on top of everything else and really conveniently located. They are right between Ryan and Bilbo along Broad Street. So the heart of downtown, super fun place, great food.
You really can't miss it if you're downtown and make sure to stop by. Like I said, a rotating menu for plate lunches and their staples like their sandwiches and potatoes. That was me saying it with an E-A-U-X accent.
Sure. You think the people at home could just hear that you meant it with an E-A-U-X at the end of it?
Obviously.
So head on over to Buffi's. You don't want to miss it. And good news is they're participating in Chuck Eats Week.
From a great meal to a great guest, we welcome on Candy Rodriguez, the Director of Communications at Visit Lake Charles. She has a news background, and with that title is basically the PR guru here at Visit Lake Charles, and she's here to talk Chuck Eats today. Welcome to the show, Candy.
Thank you for having me.
Candy, we know you pretty well. We go way back, but our viewers may not know you all that well, so we want to ask you some rapid-fire questions here so that our audience better gets to know how you play in Louisiana's playground. Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I can be.
She knows what the questions are because she listens. She's an avid listener of the podcast, so I'm sure she knows what's
Allegedly.
coming. Allegedly.
I am.
Claims to have listened.
Let's see the Spotify records. Let's see them.
We're number one on our wrap up.
Hey, our raps did really well, so appreciate all of our listeners. We were, I think, on 15 different people, we were like a top 5 podcast.
Oh, that's so cool.
Really appreciate those that listened and had us up there.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm an Apple person.
I am too, but
I am too,
Apple
actually.
doesn't give me a rap. So for this conversation,
give you a replay.
I'm all Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah, no. All right.
Our first question: crawfish or gumbo?
Crawfish.
Okay. Any elaboration there?
Yes. So I love gumbo, but I prefer crawfish. However, you guys are I'm putting myself out there when it's not seasoned. So just spoiled.
You've made enemies at the table. Not me. I don't eat crawfish ever, but Brady's looking at you sideways.
I can't do spice.
Like just straight water?
Yeah, just spoiled with like a little bit of salt.
Just straight water.
So if I could just eat crawfish all day, every day without the spice, I would.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, we'll get you some bland crawfish coming right up. Okay, next question: poolside or beachside?
Beachside.
I'm not shocked.
What? Really?
Yeah. No, I'm not shocked at all.
Do I look like a beachgoer?
I just think you know how to handle yourself at the beach, like toes in the sand.
What is it about the beach?
The sounds, the nature, the actual animals, right? So the marine life, whether that be actual fish or the plants, the botany right in the area, and then a margarita.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. But you also grew up not that far from the coast.
I'm from Anahuac, Texas. So we're right there near Galveston, near Highland, near Crystal Beach. So we used to go all the time. So for me, yes, I love a pool, but a beach is the way to go.
I agree. Okay, concert or comedy show?
That's a hard one. I love them both. It depends. That's my answer. I'm sorry.
It depends on what day of the week it is.
It depends because sometimes there's a concert that I really want to go see, but sometimes there's a comedian that I really want to go see.
Have you been to more concerts or comedy shows?
I've been to both equally.
I doubt that.
I promise.
Okay.
I can show you all my ticket stubs if I
goes-
can find them.
Yeah, count the stubs.
I think she goes to everything.
Yes,
I think any form of entertainment, you're there.
I do enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just love being around people.
Sure.
I love people, so.
Well, speaking of entertainment, we kind of have a culinary entertainment, if you will, upcoming here very soon. Chuck Eats Restaurant Week. It's fast approaching, like kind of caught up to us pretty quick. For those not in the know, can you explain what Chuck Eats is and what really is the event's purpose?
Yeah, so Chuck Eats is a 10-day culinary celebration for all my foodies out there where restaurants will offer prefix menus or special fixed-priced menus throughout the 10 days. And this is a perfect opportunity to really let your taste buds explore what Southwest Louisiana has to offer. For our local restaurants, it's a chance for them to showcase their talent, creativity, and commitment to their craft, right? Because they have a lot of stuff going on here in Southwest Louisiana. So I encourage everyone to come out and check it out.
So this is year 3, right?
Correct.
How has this kind of evolved over time? I know something is different about it every year, right?
Yeah. So, well, we've definitely grown. Mm-hmm. We initially started with a few local favorites, and now we have over 40 restaurants participating later this month. So it's definitely grown. And I feel like, and maybe this is just me saying it, but I feel like it really truly has become an event that people and visitors look forward to every single year now. I know it's only the third year, but it's only upward from here.
Well, the first year, you kind of you figure out where you are, what your standings are, right? You know, there was a lot of people, I'd say it and they'd be like, oh, I've never heard of it. After last year, the second year, there were numerous people I have a conversation like, oh my God, I loved it. We went to blank, 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 blank. And so it really is great how fast it's catching on. And it really shows how solid this area is in terms of supporting local restaurants, because we've got so many flavors, and I love to see the growth from that aspect, from the social aspect.
Well, yeah, because for our visitors and our locals alike, it's an opportunity for them to explore our culinary scene that makes Southwest Louisiana truly a must-visit destination. Just to give you guys some perspective, last year we saw a 41% increase in visitors traveling from places like Houston, Beaumont, and Lafayette.
That's incredible.
And then we saw that on average, visitors and locals spent about $75 at a restaurant.
Yeah, they're making an event out of it.
Yeah, totally.
This is the time to do that.
Well, as a 10-day foodie event, how do you think, or maybe why do you think it's such a great canvas to showcase the city? And what do you think makes it important for us to continue growing it and continue putting it out there each and every year?
Well, because one, it's not just an event for the locals, right? We get to benefit from having a restaurant week here. I mean, so many major cities across the country have it. So we're so lucky to have it here as well. I mean, our culinary scene is incredible. So why would we not, right?
Right.
But for the visitors who are coming, it gives them an opportunity to discover our culinary scene in a different format. And in itself, it's an experience. So it's not like you're just going out for dinner. I mean, again, these are prefix menus, right? So they have been carefully crafted and curated so that way when you come in, you know what to expect. You know you're going to pay this price. You know that you're going to get this menu that you get to select from. So it's a fun experience as well. And then for restaurants, it gets people that maybe haven't been there in a while to come back. And it also attracts new customers because I think Brady and I were talking about it earlier that, you know, sometimes we drive by restaurants and we're like, oh, I haven't been there. Maybe I should go there. Well, when you have an event like Chuck Eats and all the restaurants that are participating are so visible, then you see that they're offering a meal with a special menu that kind of, I would think would make you want to stop in and check it out. So for restaurants, it brings the old customers back and attracts new ones. And beyond the food, it's an economic boost for our community.
Sure.
And so one thing too is, you know, we all kind of have our favorites when we go to places to eat, right?
Absolutely.
You hit the same places every week. You get the same thing every time you go. This kind of gives those restaurants an opportunity to come up with something new, I guess. Sometimes it might be something from the menu already on the menu, but sometimes it's something special just for this week, right?
Yeah, and that's the beauty about Chuck Eats Restaurant Week is that we encourage our restaurants to, yes, put on the local favorites, but if you want to, try something new because this is a 10-day event. So if I like to tell our restaurant partners, if there's something that's been on your mind, for example, I'll talk about Paul at Paul's Rib Shack. He has phenomenal barbecue, right? But last year, he had been chatting with me, telling me, hey, I really have been wanting to try this Reuben. I don't know, like we're going to put it on the menu. And I said, you know what, just do it during Chuck Eats. And that can give you an idea as to how customers receive it. So he did. And people really loved it. So then he started featuring it, I think, every Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say, now it's one day a week.
Yeah, and now it's one day a week. And he's brought it back. Because again, like you said, Jill, there might be people that just haven't gone yet. So.
Yeah, haven't been to that restaurant or kind of stick to their safe zone, you know, their comfort zone as far as what they order off the menu.
Right, but it goes back to that experience. So even if you do know that you know that restaurant, you love that restaurant, and they just have everything that you've probably already tried, again, you're just going for that experience of having that curated prefix menu.
Okay, we've mentioned prefix menus. Give me the quick of it. of what's the biggest benefits for probably the restaurants and then the people? Is it the variety for the people that you get to see and kind of go in? Is that the biggest for the people?
Oh, for the people, yes. And I would think it's also value for customers. I mean, a prefix menu is a set price, right? So you already know before you go in there what you're going to pay. And it also, you're experiencing something. I think a lot of times now in today's world, we want to experience things. We don't just want to like do something. We want to have a memorable experience. And I think that's what a prefix menu creates.
And how many restaurants, I'm not sure if we touched on this, how many restaurants have signed up and like what are the genres, for lack of a better term?
Over 40 restaurants have signed up. It's a very diverse culinary scene. You have everything from global influences, Latin cuisine, local Cajun staples. You have New American, Mexican. Really, I mean, what do you guys like? You tell me and I'll kind of...
Yeah, well, there's going to be a little something of everything, right? Louisiana is such a,
melting pot,
if you will. A gumbo is what we always call ourselves, and that's kind of what you get here on the culinary scene in Lake Charles.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of everything. And you know what I love about Chuck Eats is that we also give our restaurant partners opportunities to do it how they want to do it. So this year we happen to have breakfast, brunch, lunch, and dinner options.
Oh, cool.
So customers can go whenever, wherever,
Because there is a couple of Sundays that are encapsulated in the Chuck Eats. So having that brunch option does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And the variety also goes into level of dining experience too, right? There's very casual and then there's an upscale options as well.
So you have everything from Blazing Hot Chicken that's offering a $8.99 lunch all the way up to, say, a $75 dinner at Ember, which is fine dining. So there's a plethora of options, not just on when to eat, right? Because we said there's breakfast, brunch, lunch, and dinner, but also your price ranges.
Okay, so give us a sneak peek of, you just mentioned 2, but some of the participating restaurants and some of the things we might be able to expect this year.
All right. So if you're looking to indulge in, let's say, savory chicken and sausage gumbo, which I do love with a side of potato salad, head on over to Nina P's.
Of course.
Or if you want to dig into a loaded po' boy, you have Buffies and Coolers. And I don't know, maybe you want to enjoy a twist on the classic. There's seafood lasagna at the Terrace.
Oh, interesting.
Amanda's always going to be creative.
She always comes up with something interesting.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you something there on her dessert menu is something you've probably have thought about in a dream once, and she somehow got the 100%. Notification and made it.
100%. Then you also, of course, have seafood. You can go to Drago's, Lighthouse Bend, which... they are new. They're our first Cameron Parish restaurant. They just opened this year, so we're very excited to have them. I know they have this like crab cake egg roll on their.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about them.
Yeah, we need to hit them.
And
up
it's
soon.
it's a beautiful drive, and then you have a beautiful view.
Might be a Chuck Eats stop.
Yep, there you go. We might have to all 3 of us go, and then of course, don't forget you have the briny delicacies at Salt Revival, the oysters, right? So they'll be there. And then we have something for those who have a sweet tooth. Just depends. Like if you want apple pie egg rolls.
I do.
An 8-inch colossal cookie.
Where can I find that?
Exactly. Yeah. Rotolos. And they have gelato.
Their gelato is amazing. I will say, I think
the week ahead.
The best use of Chuck Eats Week for people is look at the desserts, because that's where the most creativity I think comes in for a lot of these restaurants. They're like, ooh, I want to try this dessert at this time. You're going to get desserts that are typically not on the menu.
Yeah, I'll give you one example. Buñuelos at Mi Tierra. And I know y'all are probably thinking, what are buñuelos? But that is a very traditional Mexican dessert. So again, it's an experience when you go out to eat during Chuck Eats, because you're going out, you're maybe trying, like you said, Jill, a classic that you love, but there might be something on the menu that you're like, you know what? I've never heard of that. I don't even know what that is, but I'm willing to try it.
It's kind of like when you're on vacation and you go somewhere, you go somewhere else, right? You go somewhere, whether it's out of the country or whatever, and you're willing to try and eat just anything, even if it's not in your wheelhouse, even if it's not something you've ever tried before, because, why not? You're on vacation. that's what people, I think, should go into this with, that kind of mindset. That like,
Good point.
Throw the regulars, the usual, like throw it out the window. Go for something you've never tasted before.
And you just said it yourself. It's like you're on vacation. Well, guess what? Chuck Eats Restaurant, we can do that for you because we have so many restaurants that are offering you essentially an international trip for your palate because we have global flavors being featured across several of them.
Well, a way to kind of get to some of those, I know I've got a buddy and we kind of take a Chuck Eats tour, if you will, right? Where we each figure out where we want to go and we'll fill it out.
I'm never invited.
I know. I was going to say, excuse me?
Wow.
Where's our invitations?
And I know that you had a kind of a game exercise for us to kind of be familiar with a few of the restaurants that'll be featured.
So I do have some riddles for y'all because I was curious to test your Chuck Eats Restaurant Week knowledge.
No. Okay. Uh-oh.
Are y'all ready?
On the spot.
All right. Here is the first question. With a sizzling hot pit and smoky flavors, my specialty isn't just barbecue. It's a juicy, piled high classic that nods to a New York delicatessen tradition. What am I and where am I?
I know this one.
Oh, do you? Okay, go for it.
Paul's Rib Shack Reuben.
Good job. You got it.
Good job.
Oh, and I won a Reuben here. Wow.
That would make this game better.
Yes.
Good job, Brady.
That's a great job, Brady.
Thanks.
All right, here's the second one.
Okay.
Jill, I'm hoping you get this one.
Okay.
I'm not your typical dessert. I'm a crispy twist on a sweet American classic. I'm crunchy and sweet with a gooey filling that feels like a hug from grandma, but I come in a roll. What am I and where am I?
But I come in a roll. Crispy, sweet, it has filling, and it comes in a roll. Oh, I know this one. It's the apple pie egg roll at Rick and Jack's. Oh my gosh, I got it.
Good job. All right, here's the third one. Our Gulf oysters are more than just a taste of the sea. They're part of a sustainable movement raised to better the environment and your palate. What am I and where am I?
Some kind of oyster dish at Salt Revival.
Good
And
job.
featured here on the podcast, they've got like broiled, they do
Char grilled,
raw,
yeah.
char grilled,
Yeah.
Fried.
a lot of
They do
different.
fried.
I think they do
Fried.
baked as well, and they're really
So
really
good. Yeah,
Their
so
fried
good.
their fried ones were awesome.
All right, the last one's a little bit of a stumper, but it's fun. So I saw it when I saw this dish listed, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna have to go and try.
Okay.
You'll find me flipping over your idea of Cajun classics with my boudin-filled twist on a Mexican staple. What am I and where am I?
Boudin quesadillas. What? No. She's shaking her head. No.
Boudin
Enchiladas?
No, I think it's going to be somewhere from Tierra.
Wow, that's a good one. I know that one of our coworkers, I tried it on her earlier, and she said Casa Mañana because that was also a good guess too.
Oh.
But nope,
Was it Mi Tierra?
nope.
A boudin burrito.
Oh, close.
I don't know.
All right, I'll tell y'all.
All right.
Okay.
It's a Cajun chimichanga at Coffee 30.
At Coffee 30.
Correct.
Oh, out of left field, you guys. It's okay. Well, now I want to know, and now I have to go there. I was not expecting that.
Ding ding, yes, you do.
I was not expecting that. But that's
Yeah.
the kind of thing that Chuck Eats offers is
Yep.
off the
Agreed.
wall things at a place maybe you've never gone before or never gone for that particular thing, right?
Well, look, as we wrap up this conversation, incredibly hungry. Thank God lunch is right at this time. What are your takeaways, pro tips, those types of things for the best way to maximize someone enjoying Chuck Eats in 2025?
All right, yeah, so some pro tips here. Menus will be provided at the restaurant, but don't forget to mention Chuck Eats when you get there. So when you get there and your server walks over, let her know, hey, I want to do the Chuck Eats deal. And again, this is happening January 17th through the 26th, and be sure to check each restaurant's hours. You can always find more details at chuckeats.org.
And all the menus right now, all the deals is on chuckeats.org too right now.
Right now, yes, you can
Like
go
you
check it
can
out.
already find it right now.
You can start making your travel plans.
Well,
Yeah.
Your foodie adventures.
like
you can
I
start
said,
drafting them out.
Buddy and I sit and we kind of draft the list from there, and they're like, "All right, we're going to hit here," and then we kind of work to figure out. We're like food general managers.
Oh, okay.
Like we're drafting our football
He is saying
teams.
general manager in an NFL type.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
reference.
I
Yeah,
don't
we're
do
like
football.
we're like handing out
Thank you for
NIL
translating.
deals to our restaurants.
Instead of this is your fantasy eats menu.
Yeah, I like that.
Got it. Okay, thank you for translating,
So make
Jill.
sure to
Yeah, I
head to ESPN.com for our Chuck Eats restaurant
Fantasy
week
league.
fantasy eats team.
No. So just remember when you get to the restaurant, just let your server know you are there for Chuck Eats. Always check the restaurant's hours. And again, this is happening January 17th through the 26th.
All right. Thanks again to Candy for joining us here on the show. But thank you. Yes, you listening there with your AirPods on. I'm just guessing here. If that was you, you feel really called out. Thank you for listening to the podcast today. If you enjoyed the show, please follow it and leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, your Samsung refrigerator, wherever you get them.
I'm just trying to think of somebody sitting there listening to the refrigerator, listening to me talk.
They're very fancy,
Poor
yeah.
babes. All right. So, of course, leaving us a rating or a review that helps us grow our audience and further share the unique experiences that Lake Charles and Southwest Louisiana has to offer. So go to visitlakecharles.org/podcast for more episodes, our advice on where to eat, and events that are happening this weekend. I'm Jillian Corder.
And I'm Brady Raynard. Thanks again for coming to play at Louisiana's Playground and eating too. C'est you.